When you read, Rome was in power. Herod, the king of the Jews, they were all Edomites. Rome was the power during that time.
Right.
So, who was in power before that? Where we all came from? Greece.
Right.
Greece. During that time period, we what? We were assimilated into Grecian culture. We were called what? Greeks. We were called Greeks. We were called Greeks. Just like today, I will be called an American.
Right.
Am I American? No. I'm going to give you an example of that. Acts 22:3. Yep, that's what I want. Acts chapter 22 and verse 3. Watch this. Paul going to let you know his citizenship and his nationality are not the same.
The book of Acts chapter 22 verse 3. I am verily a man which am a Jew.
He is a man which is a Jew. Read.
Born in Tarsus.
Doing what?
Born in Tarsus.
Born in Tarsus. Read.
A city in Sicilia. Yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel. And taught according to the perfect manner of the law.
You see that? Taught according to the perfect manner of the law. But he's letting you know that he's a what? He is a Jew.
Right.
He is a Jew. So, let's get back to it. 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6. Why were we called Greeks? Why were we called Greeks? Why were we called Greeks? There's a book called the Maccabees or the Apocrypha. This is the history that's not contained in your Bible. Guess what? The Catholic Church got it in they churches. But why don't the black people have it in their church? Why? Because it was taken out by the Protestant church. But how do we know that it's validated? The Bible wouldn't make sense if you don't have it.
Right.
There's 7 major captivities and one of them is missing if you don't have the Apocrypha. The white man, every year, he celebrates Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Black people are like, what is that?
Right.
What is
Hanukkah?
Hanukkah?
Came from, yeah.
You don't know where it's coming from. But it's in the Apocrypha. Read that.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days.
You see that? Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days.
Or ancient feasts.
Or ancient feasts, meaning what? The Sabbath, Tabernacles, Passover. Read.
Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Hold on. Neither was it lawful for a man to do what?
To profess himself at all to be a Jew.
We got a little taste of that recently in pop culture. Kyrie released a tweet
Right.
that identified with a movie that showed you that he was a real Jew.
Right.
What happened to him? He was suspended for 9 days. His shoe deals was taken away from him. All hell broke loose.
Right.
Because he said in so many words that I am a Jew.
Right.
And guess what? The media don't like that. The world does not like when we identify with who we really are. Therefore what? It's not lawful or it's not expedient for you today to say that you were a Jew.
Right.
But back then, the repercussions were a lot harsh than they are today.
Life and death.
Read it again.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint.
So, if you couldn't call yourself a Jew, what did you have to call yourself? A Grecian. You had to call yourself a Greek because you couldn't say that you were a Jew. Keep reading.
By bitter constraint to eat the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy.
Read.
Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen, by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions.
That they should observe the same fashions.
And be partakers of their sacrifices.
Read.
And whoso would not conform themselves.
Whoever did not assimilate, read.
To the manners of the Gentiles.
Whoever did not do what the Gentiles did.
Should be put to death.
Hold on. What would happen?
Should be put to death.
How many games did Colin Kaepernick play since he took a knee? How many snaps did he take in the NFL since he took the
bring
lead?
it out.
0. Like I said, they haven't got to this point yet. But you see, if you stand up or against popular culture or heritage, today you just get blackballed.
Yeah.
Back then you got put to death.
Right.
Hence, we what? We called ourselves Greeks. We were known as Greeks because of that. We could not outwardly identify ourselves as Jews. So we became what? Greeks. Read it again.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verse 9. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death.
Read.
Then might a man have seen the present misery.
So that is what happened to our people during this time period. Leading up into the New Testament, we had all became what? You were either they allowed you to be if you stayed in the temple and you were still in Jerusalem, you were a Jew. Outside of that, those other Israelites that were scattered, as we read about, they became what? Grecians. And they didn't have a problem with it. Let's further back. Let's further back that up. 2 Maccabees 4.
Hey, Kevin, what's heavy about that is because it said that you wasn't lawful to profess yourself or keep your customs.
There you go.
That also backs up the point about circumcision and uncircumcision.
There you go.
You got put to death for circumcising your child, and you wonder
Bam.
why there's a big argument
Bam.
about that in the New Testament.
That's heavy. Because a lot of those terms are very interchangeable.
Yeah.
It says Juno-Greek, or it says circumcision or uncircumcision. They all go back to the same thing. Northern Kingdom or Southern Kingdom.
Yep.
That's what it's going back to. So let's go to 2 Maccabees 4. Let's start at verse 9. We're going to read all the way down.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 9. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise, and for the training up of the youth in the fashions of the heathen.
So back then they got the youth in the sports. What's going on today?
Yeah.
We got youth sports. We got AAU. We got Pop Warner.
Yep.
We got Little League. We got high school. All these different things. What? It's the same thing. The same spirit is in the earth today. All of these things to get you in these funnels to where what? You are chasing that American dream.
Yep.
Back then it was the Grecian dream. Now it's the American dream. Read. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Training up the youth.
Yes, sir. Training up the youth in the fashions of the heathen,
Uh-huh.
to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus.
Read.
Which when the king had granted and had gotten into the hand of the rule, in the hands the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion.
He brought his own people to the Greekish fashion. Read.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of the Eupolemius, who when the ambassador to Rome for amity,
So they went to Rome for amity
and aid, he took away, and putting down the governments which were according to the law.
So he removed the people that kept the Jewish law, read, or the Jew law, read.
He brought up a new custom against the law.
He taught them the ways of the oppressor, read.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men,
your 4-star, your 5-star, the chief young men,
under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of the Greek fashions, and increase of heathenish manners.
Read.
Through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
So what are we seeing right here? We're seeing what? Assimilation at its highest levels. Just like today, you ask a young man what his nationality is, he ain't gonna know.
No.
He ain't gonna know, but he can tell you what play to run.
Right.
He can tell you how high he jumped. He can tell you who got drafted first in the NBA draft.
Right.
He can tell you how many points LeBron James averaged. He can tell you what movie is in the movie theater, but he can't tell you his nationality.
Hellenized.
He's been Hellenized, 100%. He has become an American in so many words. Read.
Verse 14. That the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth.
So all of this is getting to this point right here. We're showing you, how did we become Greeks? How did we become Greeks? Why does it not say Jew nor African?
Right.
Jew nor white man? Jew nor this? No, it only says Jew nor Greek. Because we were Grecians. We were Hellenized. We became Greeks. Read this. Verse 15.
Verse 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers. Read.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
You see that? We like the glory of the Grecians best of all. We took pride in being a Greek.
Right.
We took pride in not honoring who or where we came from. Just like today, we got our own national anthem, so-called lift up every voice and sing, right? A lot of our own people would say that's not the national anthem.
Yeah.
The national anthem is the Star Spangled Banner. We love the glory of the Gentiles best of all. Read it again, verse 16.
Verse 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Read.
By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
Read.
Whose customs they followed so earnestly, and whom they desired to be like in all things.
You see that? Who they desired to be like in all things. Just like today, they got a cookout on Memorial Day. We got a cookout on Memorial Day. They shoot off fireworks on July 4th. We shoot off fireworks on July 4th. They put a Christmas tree in their house. We put a Christmas tree in their house. They celebrate Thanksgiving. We celebrate Thanksgiving. Hence, we became what? Gentiles. So now when we come and tell you who you are, you say, no, I'm not that.
Right.
I'm African American. I'm black. I'm an American citizen. No, that's not who you are. You just liking the glory of the Gentiles best of all. That's all you've been taught. That's all you've been shown on TV.
Right.
That's all you've been given. But that is not who you are according to this Bible. Likewise here. So now let's get back to it. 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. I'm going to give you that example biblically. Because a lot of y'all say, okay, that's making sense. But how did that happen in the Bible? We just read it, but I'm going to make it even more, I'm going to make it more plain for you. In all of these different places, in Ephesus, I want you to put, instead of Ephesus, Alabama.
Right.
In Colossus, instead of Colossus, I want you to put Cincinnati.
Right.
In, where else? In Philippians, put Philadelphia.
Right.
That's just where we at.
Right.
But that is not who you are. That's just the place in the lands where you were placed for that time. That is not your true identity. Yes, your driver's license says that you're a U.S. citizen. But that's not your true spiritual. That's not where your blood started. Read that.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Hold on, read it again.
Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Now, how can you used to be a Gentile?
Right.
How can you used to be an African? Yeah, I used to be a white man. No, no, that's not what happened. What it's saying is, you used to follow the ways of your oppressor.
Right.
Yeah, I used to do those things, but now I don't anymore. Now I know who I am. Now I've awakened to my true nationality, and now I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Read it again.
Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
You were a Gentile what?
Carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
So you were a Gentile as long as you followed the customs and beliefs of those Gentile nations.
Right.
Hence what? the Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
You were a Greek as long as you upheld the customs of the Greeks. But the second you woke up to who you were as an Israelite, you came back to your true nationality. You came back to your true heritage. You came back to the true religion.
Mm-hmm.
From there, go to Tobit 13 and 3. Tobit chapter 13 and verse 3. So we putting it all together now. We showing you that guess what? Those people that profess themselves to be Gentiles, they are actually Israelites according to the Bible. Tobit 13 and 3.
The book of Tobit, chapter 13, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Confess him before the Gentiles.
Confess him before the Gentiles.
Ye children of Israel.
Ye what?
Ye children of Israel.
So the Gentiles are the children of Israel. Read.
For he hath scattered us among them.
For he hath scattered us among them. And when you're scattered among them, guess what? You become one of them, even though that is not your blood nationality.
What is a nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.